So I always say, you saved his life. March 2022, Dave had his cruciate ligament operation at a referral vet in near where we live. Following that, he'd come out of the hospital, and about 3 days later, he was sorry, I keep getting emails pop up on my phone. A few days later, his leg, the wound started weeping. It was really swollen. And so we was immediately concerned. It was a Saturday morning, and they said, bring him up straight away. So we took him back to the vets, and they said he'd got an infection in his plate that they'd put in to mend the cruciate ligament. Because he had an infection in the plate, they said it's really hard to kill the bacteria around the plate, and we had either two options: to remove the plate and he wouldn't be able to really walk properly, or they could give us antibiotics for 8 weeks, which they hoped would kill the bacteria around the plate. They never said to us that this could cause stomach problems. That was our only options, and we obviously said no, give him antibiotics. We didn't want him to go through another op to have the plate out. So he went on antibiotics, killed all the infection, his leg healed, he was good. But about 4 weeks after the antibiotics, he started having just awful, runny, sloppy poos. And we took him back to the vet, explained this. They said they didn't give us any indication that it could be anything to do with the antibiotics. And they just said, oh, it's just an effect of the art, he'll be fine, keep going. So we just carried on with the process we was doing, carried on giving him the same food. He had like a fourth grade food, just a grain-free food you buy from the shops. And then following, he finished the antibiotics, and literally we were still having it was like soup coming out, like, sorry to be graphic. And it was bright yellow. It was like really sort of like a light mustard colour. Sorry to again be graphic.
No. The more info on the poo, the better. Yeah. It tells you a lot about the health.
And it was, you couldn't pick it up. Like, you had to hose it off the grass. It was just awful. And then, but within the poo, then we again kept taking him back, saying it's not, and he started to lose weight. And they suggested to us that we needed to change his food. Initially they put us on medication to try and stop him having a runny poo, but I probably could find them. Yeah, I was trying to think actually what it's called, but if I don't think now, I know I've probably got it at home, and I can send you a picture of the box.
I think it was on Panica and some steroids.
Oh, Panica, that's it. Panica, they gave us some steroids, and they tried something else as well. I'll ring the vet if I can't remember, and I'll get the details.
How did that work for him?
So that didn't make a blind bit of difference. Okay. So we took him back after the week, said it didn't make a blind bit of difference. Our usual vet couldn't help us and sent us back to the referral vet who done his operation. We went to them. They said, you need to change his diet and give him a food he's never had before. And they recommended Ecabuna.
Eucabuna.
Eucabuna.
Something like that.
Sweet potato and fish.
Eukanuba.
Yeah. Just little biscuits, but we had to give him 200 grams 3 times a day. So he's only having 600 grams a day, which to me seemed quite low, but we was guided by the professionals who we fought and carried on doing that. We done that for a week. Again, no change. Took him back to the referral vets, and they said to us that they couldn't really tell what's wrong with him, but they needed to do a ultrasound, put a camera up his bottom and check all the insides. They think there might have been something wrong with his bowel. He had all that done. It was all fine. They said that they couldn't get to the smaller bowel. That's why they had to do an ultrasound, because the camera would only do the larger bowel. So, do whatever it had to do. They couldn't see anything wrong and gave him chemotherapy tablets to take and said, this will help him. So we said, fine. He had 4 weeks supply of chemotherapy tablets that he took. After week 1, we had no improvement. I remember I was at our usual vet's weighing him, and he'd weighed at this point 26.9 kilos. And he looked like, that's what he weighs now. So, but at the time I didn't realise he could get as low as 16. I was thinking he's going to drop dead any second, and I was just in bits. And while I was at the vet, I rung the referral vet, and I was just sobbing and just saying, like, this isn't working. Can you do anything to help him? They said, bring him back in. So I went back in that night with him, and they said, no, he seems okay. Stick with the plan. He's still quite bright. Stick with the plan, that Echinubor, and keep on the chemo. So we did. Again, a week passed. He lost more. His weight just started to fall off him really rapidly at that point.
Yeah.
He just seemed to like lose a kilo every day. And he was absolutely starving. So he'd eat anything he could find. Like, he's never snatched off people's plates or anything, but at that stage he did. And it was still really bright yellow, his poo. And they said that might be his liver. They wasn't really sure. They done some blood tests on him. They all come back fine, apart from he had low B12.
Yeah, because he couldn't absorb. He wasn't absorbing anything.
No, yeah.
So you're basically going back and to and fro from the vets, getting more and more tests.
So they then said he needed B12 injections, and then that would solve it. So obviously we're thinking, great. He had 6 weeks of B12 injections every week. Still nothing. Continued to lose weight. And then we got to the point where he was 16 kilos, and we thought, that's it now. Like, I was taking him to the vet all the time. I was like in bits and saying, look, he's going to die, because they kept telling me he might have a seizure and die. Like, it was just awful. Like, the whole process was awful. And I didn't, if I'm honest with you, Cam, think at all about a nutritionist, because we'd been to the referral vet. They'd never said, go and speak to a nutritionist. They just said, stick on this Echinubor food. And someone said to me, just contact a nutritionist and see what you can do. And that's when I contacted you, I think in this October or November, we contacted yourself. And basically you changed our life and saved Dave's life in the process.
How long did it take for the new diet to solve the yellow mustard poo?
I'm going to say 12 hours. It was absolutely life-changing immediately. We started him that night when we met you at 3:00 on the Zoom call, and that night we gave it to him. By the next morning, his poos were fantastic. And that's literally, it was immediate.
So it had been months, nearly, 7 months,
yeah.
Of diarrhea, yellow
weight
poo,
loss,
and weight loss.
Basically, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good. 12 hours. So
it's fantastic.
What was he at his lowest weight? 16 kilograms?
15.9 was his lowest.
So he'd lost pretty much half his body weight by this point.
Yeah. Well, he was 37 when he had his operation. He was a bit on the chunky side. He should have been about 33, but he was about 37 because he wasn't as active because his leg was hurting. I think he's putting on a bit of weight anyway. But yeah, he was 37, slightly overweight, but he went down to 15.9.
Yeah, I remember you sending that photo of him, and I saw the photo, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, exactly.
This boy's.
That's what I was like.
I can imagine the stress of the situation when you're constantly going to and from the vets, and the solutions aren't working. It's like you're trying your hardest to get your dog what they need, and when the solutions coming back aren't working, it's just like, holy shit, what are we going to do? And
it wasn't in any way financially, like, he was insured for each little up, so his leg, his stomach, but in total with his leg and his bowel problems, it cost us £20,000 to pay the vets. Like 12,000 of it was covered by the insurance. We paid the rest. And I just feel like so frustrated that the referral vet, who are meant to be the European experts who sell themselves as this great organisation, who we put our 100% faith in, did not once say to us, go and see an animal nutritionist or a dog nutritionist. Like, we never, or they didn't say to us, if he goes on antibiotics for 8 weeks, it could completely upset his gut and you could have these problems. They never warned us about any of that, so we were sort of in the dark, just thinking we were doing something wrong, or we wasn't giving him the proper care he should have had, and it was just awful.
Yeah.
So I feel frustrated by that.
Unfortunately, that is it's a relatively common thing that happens with dog owners, is that they go to the vet when their dog has a gut issue, and the vet is totally untrained in, what could be the cause of this digestive problem, addressing it through diet, which is, if the dog has a digestive issue and you're not changing what they're digesting, then you're never going to solve the problem. And actually, these drugs have such strong secondary effects, whether it was the chemotherapy drugs that they were giving Dave, and before that 8 weeks of antibiotics. It's just it's so sad, really, that you don't get the information, because it would have been such a simple fix at the beginning.
Absolutely. And he wouldn't have got to the point where he got to. We could have helped him at the early stages, like you say, before he even lost any weight, or when he started to lose weight.
Yeah, just nipped it in the bud early.
Yeah,
and not
absolutely
get to a stage where your dog has lost over half their body weight, which is crazy thinking about that. So Dave's got a little bit more weight to put on, do we reckon, or
he has? Yeah, I think he has, but I don't know if he's just plateaued a bit because he's more active now, and we take him out for a lot longer walks like he used to have. And I think maybe he's just eating my husband says it's like us eating salads and healthy foods all the time. We're not going to put on weight because we're not eating crap, basically. And I think that's probably the truth for Dave. He's eating so well, his diet's so good that actually he's not putting on the weight. But like I said, he's super active. He wants to run around and play literally all day long. So he's back to his energetic state that he's been in, which is fabulous.
Yeah, and have you noticed any other changes to like his coat, his moods?
His coat is super shiny. It's so shiny. And I know, like, going from when he had poos like soup, like, carrot soup, to I could literally pick up his poos now with my fingers. Like, it's like little lumps of pellets. They're just fantastic. Like, and he used to have so much. There was a lot of poo when he was ill,
like 14 times a day.
Yeah, and there was loads. It was literally like it was clearing out all his tummy. I always thought, God, it seems more than he was eating that he was pooing out, but maybe, I don't know. But now he just poos like twice a day. He used to poo all the time on a walk, and he doesn't now as much, and they're just brilliant. Like, I've never sort of studied poo as much as I have done since he's been here. Like, every day I'd take a picture. Oh my God, look at this. This is awful. But now I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, they're brilliant. We're so happy.
Yeah. Well, dog owners can't really get away from their dog's poo. But I'm glad that you've managed to, yes, you don't have to pick up those, or attempt to pick up the sloppy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great, Keely. Well, yeah, I remember just from that photo you first sent and thinking, I remember you guys telling me, we don't know if he's gonna make it. And I thought, part of me kind of doubted the process a little bit too at the start, because when the owners have been through so much ups and downs, and they give you feedback like, we just don't know if it's going to work, you naturally have a bit of a worry yourself and doubt the process. But the signs of why Dave had these digestive issues were all there. Antibiotics, steroids, chemotherapy medication, all of those affect the gut in a negative way long term. And actually the diet had never been changed. So if you don't address the cause, you chuck a load of medication on top, which is going to negatively impact the gut. For me, it was like, no, it's kind of obvious, but even I can doubt that when I speak to owners and they're just so kind of beaten down by the process that they've been previously taken on to fix the issue. So I'm absolutely chuffed where we've come with Dave and how he's doing now.
I always say you saved his life, because we just was literally at a loss. We didn't know where to go, what to do, and I think when we first spoke to you as well, you was just so, this is what you got to do. You know, you didn't fluff around. You just said, get on with it, just do it exactly, stick to the roots, like stick with what I tell you, which we did, like by the book. We done exactly what you told us and still do now. He has his multivitamins that you provide, that he has all the time, every day. So yeah, absolutely. Like I will say to everybody, you saved his life. We tell everyone, if it wasn't for you, he wouldn't be here. So we will be eternally grateful.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that, Keely. I don't know how to react, because it's like I feel like I hardly did anything. You know, I just pointed you in the right direction of what food, and once people realize that actually food is the thing that makes all the difference, like I'm just passing on the information. So yeah, I don't feel as responsible as maybe I am.
But... Well, yeah, you are absolutely, definitely.
Well, Keely, thank you so much for doing this call with me.